The odds are against you when you start a company, and the odds are against you even more when you're starting it alone because there's one breaking point.
We had Zach on and he thought Bala was a horrible idea.
You just sometimes have to jump in.
Sometimes you're like innovating too much. I just talked to a girl yesterday. The minimum quantities were 75,000 to 150,000 units for this one piece in the production line.
But it's so competitive. It costs so much money to get in front of customers when you have thousands of other competitors paying for it as well.
Kind of have to bluff a little bit to like make them think you are worth their time because they might be making products for Lulu and Aloe and it's like, why do they want to take a chance on like all the money and time? Like they're economies of scale. Should someone bootstrap or raise money? We have very different answers. Starting a business can feel like stepping into the unknown, but today we are diving headfirst into the most common questions that come up when you're just getting started. From deciding if your idea is actually worth pursuing, to whether you really need a co-founder, to figuring out how to find your first customers. We're breaking it all down. So in this deep dive episode, it's just the two of us, Lana and myself, pulling from our own experiences building companies from the ground up. Whether you're dreaming up your first product or knees deep in prototypes, we're here to give you the no fluff answers we wish we had when we were starting out. So let's get into it.
Fun. Let's get into it. I'm gonna make you a t-shirt for your birthday.
Am I saying that?
That says, let's get into it.
Are you saying that or am I?
You always
Have I always?
that.
Okay, let's get a hat that says, let's get into it.
Okay, first question. How do I know if my idea is worth pursuing?
Okay,
You don't. No,
you don't. Yeah, you don't. But
well, we're gonna have very different answers.
I know. I'm excited about this guy. So I think if you're passionate and you have conviction, you should pursue it, but it's good to understand if there's any sort of market fit. But I will also say, so basically, I think if you can, like, let's say you're like coming out with this new lipstick and it has SPF in it. Ask 5 friends, like 5 friends that might be that are going to be honest with you and that might be your target customer. You know, you want to like put it out there a little bit to make sure it's like, would people use this or like have a prototype, let people like test it. But that being said, you have to make sure they're kind of like your customer base because I mean, we had Zach on and he thought Bala was a horrible idea, you know, and some people just didn't get it. But I think I had enough conviction about it.
I was going to say, actually like asking 5 friends could be a bad strategy.
Okay.
See, I would validate differently.
How would you validate?
In a way that you would never validate. I would validate by like making a business plan. Ooh. Like I would go through that process of like, okay, what is the true opportunity size?
Which is actually
if I got 1% of that opportunity, what would that look like? Is that a sustainable business? Who are my competitors? Is anyone really doing this? How are they doing it? And I'm not saying if there are competitors, you shouldn't do it.
So do your research though.
Yeah, do your research.
I agree with doing your research for sure.
And tie it with an element of like, you just sometimes have to fucking jump in.
Yeah.
And hope for the best.
Especially if you're passionate about it. Because people may say it's a horrible idea. And like that shouldn't stop you if you really are like, no, I just have to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like innovating too much.
Yeah, you're way ahead of the market.
Exactly.
Yeah, I doubt that's going to be the case. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think it takes both.
Yeah.
It takes naivety and it also takes planning.
Definitely naivety. Okay, so obviously you're a single founder.
Yes.
I have a co-founder. And I look at these people. I office with one who was going on maternity leave, single founder. And I'm just like, how do you do that? The hard decisions Max and I get to talk about together. He handles like entire categories of the business that I don't even touch, like legal, for example, is one. Or like marketing. He doesn't touch, you know? So it's we're able to like kind of like parallel path and do twice as much work, but also not bog the other one down in that category. And I just look at people single co-foundering it or single founder. And I think that looks so hard. I don't think I could ever do that.
Yeah.
What's your take?
I definitely think it's harder. Like you said, I touch, especially in the beginning, like you eventually hire people, but I touch legal, finance, every single element of the business that I don't want to touch. But I never have the fear of falling out or having to maintain a relationship or pussyfooting around someone else's ego. And that's not true, because then you hire people and you have to do that anyway.
You have to do it big time.
But you still are the decision maker.
Yeah.
You know, like I've seen people fall out with co-founders, and it's a distraction in itself.
Yeah, I've seen nightmare situations.
Fucking nightmare. Or like co-founders having to like go to therapy together for years. Yeah. And there's obviously very good outcomes, but like, you know, you and Max, maybe it's a great scenario because you're both married, but people do that and then break up, you know?
I mean,
like,
we've also had like times where we were like fighting on the business or didn't agree on things, and it's really tough. So I can validate that. I just think it would be so hard alone. It
would definitely be hard alone, and also the odds are against you even more. Like the odds are against you when you start a company, and the odds are against you even more when you're starting it alone, because there's one breaking point as opposed to two. And I know investors see that as a higher risk.
Yeah, so, I've heard that they won't invest as much.
Yeah, I've had
single
people,
co-founder.
When I've like spent time with funds and then asked for feedback, one line item is always single founder or solo founder.
Wow.
So it's definitely a consideration because it's a hard job.
Yeah. And you can get really burnt out.
If one person decides it's too hard, fine, they're out. The company still exists.
Well, Max and I, we actually toggle like a period of Bala. Like I'm super jazzed and I'm engaged, I'm in it. And he's just like a little burnt out. Yeah. And it's like you can kind of like make up for the ebbs and flows of running a company that way. But otherwise, you're just burnt out. You're like, I'm done.
Yeah. I think also there's scenarios where having a co-founder where you have like a huge blind spot, like say, if I wanted to build a robotics company, I could go and do that alone. The reality is like, if I don't have a technical robotics founder, I'm going to get a lot of pushback.
For sure.
And that's not to say like, if you don't understand the industry, you shouldn't go for it. Like you didn't understand anything about building product and exercise. I mean, I'm sure you understood exercise.
Never exercised.
Never. We can tell. Yeah, I wasn't from flowers. But I had a lot of pushback for not being technical whilst building a technical company, essentially. So I think that you can definitely use co-founders as a value add.
For sure. Like Max is the product designer. Yeah. That's great. He does all that. We kind of are opposites in every single way.
But you can also pay somebody to just do that for you.
I know, you really can.
And not give away a huge
so that would be like my next. I'm just like,
we're not answering this question.
Do you need a co-founder? No, okay. But my other question about the co-founder thing is, let's say like where we're heading is like it's better with a co-founder. Just depends.
It's better with a co-founder from day one. Yes, I think that it's very hard to find somebody who is aligned with you on how hard this is and what it takes, and that you're both going to pull the same amount of weight. And there's no way you can have a co-founder without also expecting managing your relationship to be part of the job.
Yeah, and I think another thing about having a co-founder is like you have to be flexible to a certain degree. Even you and me with doing this podcast, I'm like, what about this guest? And you're like, what about this guest? And we've kind of already, even though it's new, learned to be like a little flexible because we may totally disagree on things, but it's like you can't just, then you're just like fighting or somebody has to win. It's like if there needs to be some flexibility where it's like, okay, I don't feel crazy strong about that. Let's go with that. Yeah. And I think that's like any partnership.
Agree. And if you're really strong-headed, that would be really, really hard. Like really with my first company, I don't think I would have had someone else like tell me how something should look or how something should work.
Yeah.
Whereas like you said, we're just a little more fluid.
Let's say I had a business idea and it's in athleisure, but I'm innovating somewhere in athleisure, but I'm alone and I want a co-founder. Like, how do you go about finding one?
Someone literally asked me this yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you
start a co-founder app?
Oh, like actually like Bumble, but
Bumble does that, don't they?
Do
Bumble
friends.
Business.
Oh, do they?
I don't know.
You just gave them a really good
Bumble,
idea.
Call us.
It's a good idea because it's like, how do you even go about finding a co-founder? You know, that's tough.
I don't know.
I think you just got to ask around and put your idea out there, like Zach did.
Yeah. How do I go about setting a company up?
Oh, okay.
This is a really basic one.
I know, but I want to hear about like how you set up your company, and I'll tell Ballas too. So we didn't know anything. So we just set it up as an LLC on LegalZoom. And I think at the time that was the right call. But then because of Shark Tank, we had to switch to a C-Corp corporation. It's like if you're a bigger company. So I actually don't know what like the legal advice for like someone starting out, but I think the thing is you can probably set it up as an LLC and then switch it if you need to.
I mean, and
LegalZoom. Cheaper than doing lawyers.
Yeah, I did lawyers.
But if you're like bootstrapping at the beginning and you didn't raise money.
Totally. I did lawyers. It cost me, I want to say, several $1,000s.
Yeah,
I can't remember now.
If you don't have that at the beginning.
The value they gave it was like, oh, it should be a C-Corp. It should be in Delaware.
Which we did as well.
Yeah.
So maybe you should do your C-Corp in Delaware.
Having said that, there's also Stripe Atlas. So if you sign up for a Stripe account, which you have to do if you're going to be an e-commerce company, I think if you sign up for Shopify, you probably do it through the Shopify process because they use Stripe.
Okay.
But Stripe Atlas, it's called. And you can go on there even if, say, you're in the UK or you're in Germany and you want to start a US company, and it will start a company for you.
Oh.
Just like LegalZoom.
Wow.
And it also even makes it like, of course, when you set up a company, you need to talk about who the shareholders are, but it will make shareholder agreements for you.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah, it'll define the share price, like all the basic stuff
I actually need
that a lawyer
or
would do.
something.
And that's how I've set up several other business entities since. And it does a lot of like, not accounting filing for you, but it sends you emails with reminders to do different filings and stuff.
Oh, that's great. I wish I knew about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a question actually that's good for us because we did the opposite. Should someone bootstrap or raise money? We have very different answers.
I know. But do you agree with what you did?
Well, you want to go or you want me to go?
It depends.
I mean, I could go off about bootstrapping. I think definitely bootstrapping. You own majority of the company. You can like pay yourself whatever you want. You can put whatever you want on the company. You just have a lot more freedom.
Yeah. And you don't report to anybody.
You don't report to anybody. And I think that the problem with the alternative, like the raising money, is like we've seen over the last 7-8 years, the uncertainty. We had COVID, we had tariffs, the president, all these things that you cannot foresee.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, building an amazing large company, raising a lot of money sounds very exciting, but with with what you can't see that could go on globally, like you don't even know if you'll be able to sell that company. So I love bootstrapping for that reason, but that's not to say that you can't also raise money along the way. We've done very, very small angel investments and Shark Tank. So it's like, or loans, like you can get money. There's less pressure.
Yeah.
Honestly. It's a different kind of pressure.
It depends on what you want your outcome to be. And I think like you also, and I'm not saying that a lot of work has gone in to make Bala what it is, but I wonder if you didn't launch right before COVID when everyone had to start working from home, would you have had that initial boom on very little money?
Oh, right.
Like now,
Right.
you need something initially to like trigger funds moving through the business to get loans, to get
It would have just been small
inventory,
Like, we
all
were
of this.
already-
The growth
yeah.
would have maybe been limited as opposed to if you had raised money and you'd been using it to facilitate it. Obviously, in either scenario, you would want an outcome that there was a boost from something. But I do think bootstrapping can be a real struggle. I mean, it's definitely harder than raising money. And also, raising money doesn't need to mean VC.
Yeah.
Like it can mean that you are like, I need $500K to get this off the ground and I'm going to put together a list of angels and I'm never going to touch VC because this is an olive oil company. It's never going to be something that is going to be 100 million. Maybe it'll be 50 million, and so it's not attractive to a VC. And again, there's many different types of VCs that don't need 10x. But I think that to me, I've played with this a lot in my head recently. I couldn't imagine not having that initial boost to just like hit the ground running and not have to still think about where you're spending, but be just like super strategic in terms of like making noise.
Right. Well, we were in business 2 years before COVID happened. True. So what were we doing? I mean, you know what I mean? You were just kind of like, it's like little wins, getting into a magazine or getting into like a Goop. It's like little wins versus like, if you have the injection of capital, you just go. Yeah. You hit the ground running.
I mean, I think on another episode you asked me, does raising money make you lazy? And this is maybe me being lazy.
Yeah, you don't want to go door to door.
I could struggle for 2 years going to door on my own, or I could raise a bit of money and pay someone else to do it.
No, I think that's legit. That is legit.
I don't think it makes you lazy. I think it teaches you that your time could be better spent somewhere else.
For sure. And
at this stage, when I first started Flume, I was doing all the door to door, all of those things, and I was learning on the job. Like now, that wouldn't be a valuable way for me to spend my time.
Yeah, that's interesting.
How do I build a physical product? I can't answer this one.
We literally started with a sketch on an napkin. So it's like we didn't even have like 3D renderings or like CAD files. So the hardest part is getting it like on paper.
Yeah.
Or like likely you need like a 3D CAD, and that's easy enough to get on like Upwork or something. So you need like some sort of like digital representation of what it is and like ideas for the materials. And then once you actually identify the materials you're going to use, then you can start to source a factory. And I think that that's probably the order in which you want to do things, is because, you know, if you're making something out of silicone, you go to a silicone factory. Or in our case, steel. We went to a steel factory. Or ideally, more eco-friendly materials are like coming about, and you go find a factory that is based on your materials and specialty. And then from there, kind of have to bluff a little bit to like make them think you are worth their time, because they might
like get them to buy into you.
Yeah, they might be making products for Lulu and Aloe, and it's like, why do they want to take a chance on like all the money and time? Like they're economies of scale, so they want big orders, big POs. And if you're coming to them and you're saying, what's your minimum quantity? I can only do 200 units or 500 units, like not really worth their time. So you kind of need to bluff a little.
So like be ready with forecasts.
Be ready with forecasts. Be ready with like saying you potentially have investment, or you're going to try to get in Target or whatever it is, because you want to like get their time. Obviously, if you have the luxury, if it's overseas and you have the luxury of going there, Vietnam or China, Mexico, wherever you're like making something, like that's great, because a lot gets lost in translation.
America. Some people make
America. This is true. Or America.
Now, definitely.
That's even better, because then you can get there easier. You know, in LA, go straight to the factory. You can get a lot of work done and like start to build that relationship. And then you're just kind of marching on like against your first prototypes and getting that perfect. And that could take, for us, it took a year to get right.
In terms of like you are receiving a prototype, giving feedback, trying it, receiving it, giving feedback, trying it.
And it just took forever. And we're the last thing on this factory's to-do list. Like they did not care. So I think it's about getting the prototype right, and then also understanding how much money your first run is going to be, because that's what's tough. You may have to open a mold or pay for like initial design that is $10,000 or $5,000, and then understanding if you do have to order 5,000 units. Like I just talked to a girl yesterday that is doing, I don't want to say it's some sort of, it's a baby brand, but basically the minimum quantities were 75,000 to 150,000 units for this one piece in the production line. And I was like, you have to get that down. And she said,
no way.
I'll tell you about it later. But basically it was too high to take a chance on. So you really need to get that minimum quantity down, and then also figure out how you're going to fund that first order.
Yeah, it's also not, you would think that even though your manufacturer has a lower quantity, there might be like one thing that they don't make that they have to order in.
Exactly.
That has ridiculous quantity.
And then it's like, you just, there's always a workaround though. So like, don't let that deter you. There's always like ask around, work around, find someone else. But
definitely don't see 75,000 on the first order as the like,
that's a lot. That's a lot. Our first order was 500 units, I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
It's not a lot.
No, that's what I mean. Nice that somebody would do that.
But at the time, it was like, how are we going to sell these? Okay, so how do I build a strong brand from day one? Okay, I feel like I've talked a lot about this on Ball, and I can answer it, but I'm actually curious on Flume. Like, you were building something unique in the market, right? But it's, how were you going to stand out? Obviously, yours is like fresh and modern. Like, that's how I would describe it. And how were you going to stand out? You're up against 1-800 Flowers, and was Urban Stems around, or You know, how were you going to stand out? What was your branding exercise?
I mean, for me, I was at ID Magazine before, and then Burberry before that. So it was like very fashion forward. And I knew who my demographic was. And I think when you build a brand, people have these ideas of like what it's going to be in 5 years or 10 years, but you do also have to kind of be very niche. Like you have to like speak very strongly to like one kind of person, and then you expand over time, right?
True. You want to get the believers.
The cult initial following. So like, how do you build a strong brand from day one? I think it's like, know what you want it to look like in 5 years or 10 years, and then find like a subset of those people and build something that speaks to them.
Yeah.
And for me, that was like big fashion businesses, because like I worked at a fashion house. I was sending flowers all the time. My collective group around me worked at businesses, and they were like, I can never find anything to send. So like it was higher price point, it was premium, but it was like also aesthetically very fashion forward photography versus more like product bouquet photography. Like a lot of people in it, like every florist that we signed up, we wanted to tell their story. So like they had a studio page where we did interviews with them. We went to their stores, we photographed everything. And so it was like visiting their store. And we were trying to be this like, how do you take the physical world and represent that in a digital way? And through that, build a brand through storytelling. But it also like made social media so easy, because like
you had content.
You have so much content and so many different stories of like how they came about, or what these flowers mean, or
So what was like your brief? Like I described it as like modern, fresh. Like what were like your 3 buzzwords like for if you were briefing Flume in like before it was Flume?
I mean, you're asking me to remember 10 years ago.
Well, look at what it is.
I think it was probably those things. It was definitely like fashion editorial.
Okay.
Editorial instead of maybe
but the logo seems kind of fun.
The logo, I mean, it's still all uppercase, which is fashion. And then the logo just like became a thing that it became out of, you know, our branding agency, like telling a story. But like the popping O was representing like all of these, it was like petals in the wind, but like also all of these different florists coming together, because the popping O was one of like hundreds of O's around it, but you don't see that in the logo. Yeah, I would say it was editorial. It was like very clean, and it was about focusing in on the florist or the flower.
Got it.
As opposed to like just trying to sell.
Yeah.
It was like selling through story.
I think it's also really good to have a designer. This is what we did on Bala too. It's like give me 3 totally different directions.
Yeah.
I'm very visual. Like Max is like, do you like this? I'm like, I have to like see it done. I have to like visualize it to understand, to give feedback. And basically I feel that if you tell a designer like 3 different directions, like I'm thinking modern and fresh, but maybe the direction you actually like is like vintage looking or something. So 3 totally different directions, and then you can give feedback from there. I like that.
Yeah. But also that's like the branding specifically, whereas in both of our brands were a lifestyle, you know, like
we knew we wanted to build a lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't about going to the website and sending flowers.
Yeah.
It was about like your love of flowers, learning about seasonality, learning about sustainability in this space. Like there's so many different elements that I think were contained up into this brand that we built. And I think it's the same with Bala. Like you know aesthetically exactly what it is, but you also know what it represents when you wear it.
Exactly.
Which is what branding is.
You need to like know the feeling you want to evoke. And we wanted to evoke like fashion and play.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like,
and so
are
from
you
there
like
you
a
choose
gym
everything.
babe, or are you a Bala babe? Because they're 2 very different things. Yeah. You know, like are you cranking those ugly ass black weights with the metal between them that I have to take my wedding ring off?
Yeah, and like your hands stinky.
Yeah. Or are you touching this beautiful silicone sexy thing that makes you feel fit?
That looks like a dildo. The bars look like a dildo.
It really does.
Okay, that's good. I thought of another thing though while we're chatting. How did you name Flume? Also, like how could we advise people, like you have an idea, how do you name it? Because name to me is
so hard.
Everything. It's really hard, and it's everything.
I don't know if it's everything.
Okay, not everything, but it's important.
It's definitely
really
important. Yeah. The first Flume name was A Floral Pursuit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems very editorial.
It's fucking long.
Yeah.
A really good friend of mine who works for Apple, so a very smart person, texted me once and she was like, how's a floral pursuit coming along? And she didn't spell pursuit right. And no disrespect to that, but I was like, oh, this name sucks.
And then so how'd you come up with Flume?
I was texting a friend or a group of friends in a group chat, and I put like flower something and then I put bloom something as 2 names. I was just like riffing on names, and I saw like flower and bloom literally like merge together, and that's how I came up with Flume.
I love it.
Yeah, and I thought it was great. And then we had to go buy the domain from some like crazy fucking old school band.
That's another thing, because you have to like make sure the IG, the TikTok, and the we gotta get our TikTok.
Back then,
we gotta get our TikTok.
Instagram had just come out.
Yeah, so you got Flume?
No, I still didn't. I got Flume official.
Oh, we actually had Bala Bangles, and then I think I ended up swiping Bala from someone.
Oh, you have straight Bala?
Yeah. Damn. I swiped it. Like, I think like year 2.
I used to message the people all the time and no one was.
But year 2, I go, look, this person's like never been online since they created this Bala account. Like, just give it to us.
Oh, you asked Instagram?
I'm pretty sure Instagram gave it to us, yeah.
Interesting.
And I'm trying to do the same thing with TikTok because we have something weird. Okay, but naming, I just feel like, what we did, which I feel like it's a helpful way to tell people how to name something, because it might just not come to you, you know? And for us, it didn't just come to us. So we did like a full like ad agency style exercise. It was a yoga product, so we were looking at Sanskrit words, and we knew we were like sticking with like a 3 or 4 letter word and something catchy. And then I think we were going down the line and we saw Bala, and Bala like meant childlike and strength. And so we just liked it, you know, even though, so I think you can name things on something that is just catchy and short, like Flume or Bala, or descriptive is really great too, because, you know, you don't want the customer to think. And so it's like, if you have like something that just describes what it is in an easy way, then that's great. But you can just write down like thousands.
I mean, now
words.
Let's just be honest. You ask ChatGPT to give you
a million names, and then you're like, okay. What about like how did you find your first customers?
I tried a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
I wasted a lot of money.
Okay. But like doing what?
I can't even remember what the platforms were, but like I tried a lot of platforms where you like wrote articles and like your ads showed up on different websites. I can't remember what they were called. It was just early days, like just things that didn't work.
Yeah.
Or ran my own ads, or did flyering. You just tried fucking everything. Out of home, like underground station, out of home in the UK, like hundreds of thousands spent on that. I just tried.
It's a lot of money.
A lot of things, but
not everyone has the luxury to do that.
Yeah, and that's also not first customers. I think the first person who ordered was one of my investors. So
nice. You gave me money twice.
Yeah, bribe your friends.
Yeah.
We kind of touched on this with branding. I think it's about building a niche or picking a niche and knowing what Facebook groups those people use, what places they hang out, where they eat, and just being very thoughtful about putting your brand in front of them in those places.
Right.
Like, who is this user?
Yeah.
What coffee shops do they go to? What brands do they buy? So should I put flyers in this coffee shop? Should I build a collaboration with this other brand so it pops up on the email or when they go to their website or when they're on their social? Or like, how do you build a wall around this demographic where every time they turn, they're seeing you?
Right. I like that. Yeah. I mean, we found our first customers we had to raise $40,000. So we did a Kickstarter. And so those were a great
way to get customers.
Yeah. Those were our first customers essentially. But then after that, it was like, okay, now we're on Shopify. It was like, I think I posted on Instagram, like live on Shopify. And like, my friends had already purchased it on Kickstarter. So it was like, probably crickets. I don't even probably think we got a sale that day, you know?
Nice.
It would be interesting to go back and look. But so the first customers were really after that, we were talking about it all the time. I was wearing the bangles to a yoga class and hoping I would like be walking around people like, do you notice these? Do you want these
having
too?
Lunch with you at a cafe and you're in your
so
bangles?
Just like literally showing them. But like trade shows also were a really good way to get like those first retail customers too. But those first people is just like, you just want to talk to a lot of people. It's hard. Yeah. launching to crickets?
Now I think people think it's easy where it's like, oh yeah, we'll like launch some ads, we'll have some good content, we'll have an agency run it. Well, then I hope you're raising money because you can't do that right away bootstrapping. Yeah. But it's so competitive. Like it costs so much money to get in front of customers when you have thousands of other competitors paying for it as well.
Yeah.
SEO is also a good one.
Yeah, SEO is a good one. Yeah.
Which I didn't believe in. I was like, SEO is not real. And then our business ended up being like 60% organic because we ended up investing in SEO. But it took my like COO at the time to be like, sorry, but SEO is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Our entire business was built off of it.
Wow. An SEO specialist just reached out to me and we're redoing our site and they haven't really fully thought through SEO. And I'm like, maybe I should.
I have a really good person.
Really?
Really good person.
Send them my way.
Like they're so good and they don't know it kind of vibes that I want to gatekeep it.
Well, then just
I'll give it
privately.
To you. Yeah, I'm not going to put it on here. Even though our entire thing is about how to...
Openness. Yeah. Well, we're giving a lot of good tips.
Yeah.
No, we're just kidding.
Anyway, I don't think he would appreciate it if I did.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.